So, to tell us more about what's happening on Mars, our favorite Martian, Dr. David Reitzel will tell us about the end of the Opportunity.
End of Opportunity, yeah, no more Opportunity on Mars. Yeah, this Opportunity Rover, artist conception, of course. It was on Mars, but Mars suffered a pretty much planet-wide dust storm. And this is a simulation of what we think Opportunity would have seen. Sun bright, getting dimmer, 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 until finally, poor little Opportunity that has solar panels on it was not able to get enough energy to stay awake, and it fell asleep, shall we say. On the left-hand side, we can see some numbers from Spirit, which is lurking back here behind Opportunity. Spirit lasted 6 years. By the way, these were only supposed to last 90 days, 3 months. But Spirit lasted over 6 years. You can see the numbers there, 124,000 image, more than that. 4.8 miles traveled, and steepest slope of 30 degrees, which is pretty steep. Opportunity, however, lasted more than 14 and a half years. That's insane. 217, 500,094 images, 28 miles traveled. That's more than a marathon. That's crazy. And 32-degree slope, so it beats Spirit a little bit there on the slope. This is a picture of it launching. It was a beautiful night launch. You can see how it landed, came in, it had airbags. And yeah, it bounced. Did several bounces across the surface.
That was on purpose.
On purpose, yeah, they were designed to do that. And then once it got into landed, it kind of unfolded, made sure it was upright, and the rover drove off the platform. It landed in this crater, which they nicknamed Eagle Crater, because it's like getting a hole-in-one in golf, landing in a crater like that on a big plane. Better still, in that crater, it found these blueberries. Well, they're nicknamed blueberries. It's actually hematite, which forms in liquid water. Which is crazy, although the liquid water they think was quite acidic at this location, so it wasn't something we could drink. Opportunity went trekking across the dunes, visited some other craters. Eventually, Endurance Crater, Victoria Crater, got all the way over here to Endeavour Crater. And at the edge of Endeavour Crater saw signs of gypsum, which forms under liquid water, and also clays that form under liquid water. And this is a picture of it at the edge there, and a location here, Perseverance Valley, that it was located at, where it fell asleep, shall we say. These are the other rovers in the universe made by humans, not just on Mars. But Opportunity has traveled further than any other rover. The USSR sent several. Our rover that was driven by the astronauts is the next. Here's Curiosity right here, which is still alive, and that's the dashed line here. It can still travel along the surface, so we're waiting to see if Curiosity can go as far as Opportunity. Here's the traverse map that Opportunity did, and indeed it's Endeavour Crater there at the end. Marathon Valley when it crossed that marathon line, and then finally the last location there at 2018 is the last location where at Perseverance Valley where it's no longer operating. Now we can see it basically traveled all the way from one side of LA, no, not all the way across, but pretty far.
And not down to Long Beach.
Not down to Long Beach. There's more. You can go all the way down to the port.
Imagine how far I could have gotten if it didn't take the 405.
Exactly. So that's kind of like going from Porter Ranch to Santa Monica. It's sort of like the distance it went, and it zigzagged as it went there. So really an amazing mission by this little rover that could. Before it, as one of its final acts, it actually put together a selfie of itself. They cleaned it up a little bit. That's what it would actually look like, and then colorized it to Opportunity on Mars. And this is the last image it transmitted. And this was an image of the sky. Its lens cap was off. It was open. The shutter was open, but it was so dark due to that dust. Those are just noise spikes we're seeing. We aren't seeing any stars. We're not seeing anything. And the transmission ended. It just stopped before it finished transmitting this whole image. The folks in the, very sad, the folks in the control room attempted to contact Opportunity several times over a long period of time, never heard anything, and we are pretty sure that's the end of Opportunity. They made this neat little movie looking out the front as it drives along, and we'll show the whole thing at the break, so you can take a look at it at break time and watch this whole little movie.
Yeah, experience the entire lifetime of Opportunity.
Yeah. And each time it's doing samples and making measurements with that arm and driving along. So very cool. A lot of folks celebrated the life of Opportunity with some very sad cartoons. My battery is low and it's getting dark.
That was what they said were its final words. I mean, that's the signal that it sent. I wouldn't say it was so anthropomorphized as, my battery is low. But that's basically
dark.
What it's getting dark. Is that the pitch of voice
it is.
Opportunity has?
Well, it rises the more worried it is.
Yeah. So anyway, those were, though, in essence, the final transmissions.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Didn't one of the rovers have dust that settled on its panels and then like a dust devil came by and blew
Yeah.
it off and then it came back to life? Could that happen again?
No, well, we were hoping, but this is one of the rovers that was happening to. They never went completely off due to the dust on them. They would get lower and lower power, and then suddenly they would have more power, and they figured out it was the dust devil brushing it off. They were hoping, we're kind of entering dust devil season, we're in it now, they were hoping that would happen. The problem is Opportunity had a heater on it that was bad on one of the arms that would come on at night to keep it warm, and it had to be turned off during the day or the battery would drain to dangerous levels. When it shut itself off due to the darkness, they were not able to tell it, turn off that heater if it doesn't get light again. So they think that heater drained the battery all the way to the point that even if sunlight comes back, they can't get power back into it. The battery's damaged. And that's one of the reasons they think it didn't come out. So, but they're not sure. If we get really lucky, maybe it'll phone home again and say hello, but they've stopped actively trying to contact it now. They've declared the mission dead, but there are antennas pointed at Mars, and if they hear from it, it would be great, but it's very doubtful at this point. Speaking of doubtful, it's time to go. Was I a good rover? No. I'm told you were the best. I know, and this was one of our favorite, it was an XKCD. Some people complain that we see the world through our cameras, kids these days. You can read it there. Wow, you got to come see this, and exploring a whole new world with 7 billion friends. So yeah, the Opportunity Rover had a lot of friends on Instagram, Facebook, other places that we all followed along and looked at the pictures of it. So we celebrated here at All Space Considered with a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote: "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." So yes, I'm not crying, you're crying.